Hey.
Hello to the 0 people watching.
It was much more appropriate last night when Brian and I were reviewing the first one because it was raining. Started raining about halfway through.
Fucking wet slog.
Yeah.
Set up some neons right outside the car.
Just a hologram naked woman in the background.
Yeah.
For this one, we just cover the car in ash. Then we end with radiation poisoning. Don't you love it when the house lights kick on like 5 seconds before the movie's about to end?
I didn't even know it was 5 seconds till the movie was about to end, so I was about to get really mad.
I mean, I figure once the house lights kicked on, I figured that's what happened. Yeah. But damn it, if you've seen the movie already, it's got a pretty killer final shot, and sure enough, in the IMAX, yeah, the house lights kicked on. Like, well, that kind of took me out of. Great, thanks.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, though.
Oh, it was fantastic, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is. I love that there's a great adult science fiction movie playing in theaters right now. This is what every great sequel should do. It builds upon it, expands, it continues the story from the first one. So much so to where, really, I mean, it feels like, even though it's 35 years later, it feels like it's two parts of one whole.
Yeah.
It feels like it's concluding what the first movie set up. Even though, again, it's 2 decades later, or 3.5. Not to mention the fact that even though it's 2017, the first one was 1982, this feels like it is 30 years from the future that we saw in the first movie.
No, they did a fantastic job of sticking with the not only the aesthetic, but just world building upon world building.
Yeah.
Which was great. And it wasn't as down on the ground and nitty gritty people wise as the first one was, but it didn't feel unnatural as a sequel. And
no,
the scope is a little bit bigger in this.
It is. This movie's a flat out fucking epic, man. Yeah. I mean, it is. And where it builds upon from how everything looked in the first movie is a movie might run into the problem if it's made a couple or if a sequel is made a couple or a few decades later, where special effects technology has advanced so much that sometimes a sequel like that can maybe run into the problem of like, okay, this doesn't really feel like it's even the same universe. Right. That's not the case here. Yeah, you can certainly see the advancements and you can certainly see how special effects have changed since 1982 in this film, certainly, but it doesn't feel like it's a completely different universe or a completely different world at all. In fact, whereas in the first movie you had how everything was so overcrowded and overpopulated, people are just running into each other all the time. You do have that in this movie too, differently than how the first one necessarily shows it. Like, yeah, you see a lot of people like in the first one, but in this one, near the beginning of the film, there's this shot where they're flying over the city and you don't even like see the ground. Like, it's so populated that the tops of housing and buildings just flat out look like the ground.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, no, it's just visually this was breathtaking.
And Atari is still taking over the world in this universe.
Atari and Pan Am.
And Pan Am! Yeah. Pan Am's still around. Like, that was cool.
A bunch of the companies that had signage in the first one. Like, they continued that and didn't throw in anything new, which I like too. You know? Didn't throw in any new companies that exist now. It's a continuation of that world that they built in the 80s.
How long's Sony been around?
A long time.
Okay.
Sony's been around a long time.
Yeah. I don't know if it's one of those situations like Nintendo where it's like technically they were around 100 years ago. They were a greeting card company or something like that. Yeah. I'll bet Sony's glad that they have a great movie out that their name is attached to the beginning of it. So yeah, spoiler, this is a better film than Flatliners. And The Dark Tower, let's throw that one in there.
No, yeah, this movie is definitely an accomplishment. And it's one of those things that, like, I tried to stay away from reviews.
I did too.
Because I wanted to go in as dry as I could. But I
do that for about everything.
I was curious, so I just flipped through the Rotten Tomatoes and just kind of read the negative review
the
clips.
negative headlines.
And I can say every single one of those I read, it's like, you know what? You guys just don't get it. You don't fucking get it.
Well, it's Armand White, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand most things. I don't even know what he thinks of this movie.
Didn't add anything new to the universe. Didn't ask any new questions. And it's like, yes, it did.
That's all about what this movie does.
Yeah.
Now, there's a chunk of it where I thought, like,
I don't want to get into spoilers.
No.
This. I really think...
No, I don't either. I will say that, like, for some of it, I felt like I was predicting a lot that was going to happen, but then it kind of turned that around on me.
And made it a huge story point.
Yeah, it really played with whatever predictions you're making as you're watching it.
No, because I will say, I was really enthralled, but I had that thought about a third of the way through the movie where I was like, this is stunning and well acted and great, and I love it. But it does seem like a straight shot through the movie, and you kind of know what's coming. And then when it's not a twist, but it's a turn.
Yeah.
When it took that turn, I was just kind of like, oh. Oh, well done, guys. Way to, like, fuck with my expectations by making me overly comfortable in my expectations.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt the exact same way as I was watching it. And I really loved how it really is world building in 2049 here. It really does take its time out to show you different things about what these characters are used to.
Yeah.
Like it has this whole relationship with Ryan Gosling and this hologram, and there's a lot of asides in this movie that a less talented filmmaker, a less talented editor, or a less talented writer would have just nixed, would have just not really given time to breathe, or maybe they would have just put it in there for like a minute or two just as kind of aside. This movie really spends a lot of time on just Ryan Gosling's life as it's going through this police procedural.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene in this movie that is, you remember the scene in Ghost when
you mean the mindfuck sex scene?
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, this is so weird and so captivating.
Mm-hmm.
Just I loved this movie, guys. I don't get to say that often anymore, but I absolutely like, I can't think of anything wrong with this movie. Like, everything about it is... I'm going to be really amazed if I see another movie this year that I think is better than this.
There was there have been movies this year where I'm just like, this reminds me why I love going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Why I love movies, how movies can still just wow me and be inspiring. Between this movie and earlier this year with Lost City of Zed.
Yeah.
There was a car next to this movie came out, and the back of it said, "Just married." And I said something like, "Oh, well, someone came here on their honeymoon." And turned around, they were like 5 feet behind me. Like, oh God, sorry. I don't think they were across the way. I don't think they heard me. But like, and then they were wearing shirts that said that also said married. I'm like, well, I really hope they went to go see Blade Runner, because they're in there watching My Little Pony right now.
They might be.
They could have been.
That might be their bag, you know?
Laura and I are getting married next month, or maybe in November, so maybe we'll have to go see Justice League for our honeymoon.
Does that mean I don't have to go?
To Justice League? No, it'll be like last time, where it's you and Sarah reviewing it again. I don't even review the movie.
Oh, man.
But now what I'm gonna say here is a spoiler. So
and if we're gonna get into spoiler territory, there's a lot of you watching live, and there's a lot of you that are gonna watch this tomorrow or whenever it gets posted again.
Mm-hmm.
If you plan on seeing this movie, honestly just stop watching us.
Yeah, go into this movie cold, and the trailers have really...
The only thing you need going in this movie is rewatch the first one.
Yeah.
Or you know, be me and have watched it so many times over the years that no matter what, it's still fresh in your brain.
I needed a refresher on the first one. Like last night, Brian and I went to go see the first one because they re-released it last night. And this movie does... honestly, I could have, if I hadn't done that and I just went to this, even though it had been 10, 15 years since I'd seen the first movie, honestly, I would have been fine. Like, I would have picked up enough as this movie was going along.
Well, and that's another compliment I have to pay this movie. It does flashbacks, and it does touch back on the first movie, but in such a well thought out, meticulously planned, and not hammering you over the fucking head with it way.
No.
And it makes those parts part of the story. An important part of the story. So it doesn't feel like just a fucking retread.
Honestly though, it also could serve, it also perfectly serves as a sequel no matter what version of the first one you watched.
No, exactly.
Like, it really does.
Yeah.
Like that, I was like, wow, okay, I'm impressed. You really pulled that off.
But the only flashback or the interactions you really get are between Deckard and
Sean Young?
Yeah, Sean Young. Like, you don't get the whole Rutger Hauer...
No.
Rooftop fights, eyeballs. You don't get any of that shit.
Although Edward James almost comes back.
Yeah, I was a little bit hoping and praying, but not expecting it. And then his little cameo is just... It was just one of those moments where I could feel my face just going...
Still had a little bit of a bow tie on.
Yeah, grew the weird chin strap soul patch back out for it. Oh.
Now, again, this is a spoiler, of the, I guess now, trilogy of Harrison Ford movies that are made years past the last one and also deal with his character's offspring, this is by far the best.
Yeah.
Not like Force Awakens.
I like a good chunk of Crystal Skull too.
I don't have the hate boner for it that the rest of the internet does.
I think the hate boner is completely unnecessary. I think everything that everybody bitched about, except for Shia LaBeouf, was stupid. Because you know what? All the fucking fridge and all that other stuff was so in tone with the pulpiness of the other Indiana Jones movies that I never felt any of that was weird or off.
I didn't either. I mean, and it's not one... Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not a movie that I would ever have the desire to sit down and watch again.
I've watched it because it's been on TV and shit.
Like, maybe in a situation like that. I'm not... With that movie, I just don't care much for how the action is in that movie.
No, yeah, and
that's one that feels like it's from a completely different universe than the rest of the movies have set up. I'm not even talking about what happens in the action sequences. I'm not even talking about the aliens thing. It's just how it's filmed.
Yeah.
How the special effects and everything. Again, like I said, I don't have a rage boner for it. Like, is a drunk guy like that guy over there.
I don't know what that dude's doing. He's like kicking leaves or garbage or...
Dad, my garbage, son. He's looking for a spot to shit.
I think he is.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, so there's this guy over there. Like a few live everybody.
He just pulled in a second ago too.
Guy just pulled in a second ago.
He's a rather nice vehicle.
Yeah. He's wearing like a sweater or something, having a cigarette, and is looking at some leaves on the ground and is pacing back and forth. I'm not sure if he's gonna fuck the leaves or take a shit on them. Okay, anyway, he's fine. I hate it when my dad comes to town. That's a stupid joke. My dad lives closer to here than I do. Anyway, there's one part of the movie where there's one part of the movie where, again, we're into spoiler territory here, where another replicant like Sean Young, built and designed like Sean Young, comes into it, and I don't know if that was just an actor or a special effect or both, but whatever the case is,
probably a little bit of both.
That's think. What I'm kind of guessing,
because there's no way it was somebody who looks exactly like Sean Young.
But at the same time, I'm like, that looked good. That was 100% fucking convincing.
It's so much more so than any of the stuff in Rogue One.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, way more than any of the stuff in Rogue One. It probably helped that the character wasn't in the movie that long, and like you see
even in Rogue One, the Princess Leia.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Honestly, yeah, that's a totally a good point.
That was like 3 seconds, and it was awful.
No, this was 100% convincing.
Yeah.
And also both this one and the first one have themes in it of these replicants being humanized and thus gaining a soul by the end of it. In the first one with Rutger Hauer, in the scene with the rain. In this one with a character that I honestly don't want to spoil. You know it as soon as the movie starts. It's not like a big reveal or anything
we've already
like that.
Said spoilers.
Yeah, that's
we might
true.
as well.
So say Ryan Gosling's a replicant in the movie,
and it says it right off the bat. It's really not even a spoiler.
No,
it is like in the first 30 seconds of the movie. Even before then, it's in the opening fucking scroll. It's not really a scroll, but
so I mean it's. It's a spoiler in the sense that the trailers haven't shown you any of that, and that is something that I liked being revealed after purchasing a ticket and sitting there and watching it. It's not something that you find out way later in the movie or anything like that. It's pretty late in the movie that Harrison Ford comes into it, which again
worked.
Yeah,
I didn't spend the movie sitting there going, "Where the fuck is Harrison Ford?"
No, neither did I.
Because they took the time to build to that, and when he is there, it has impact. And
it does, and it would have been so rushed if they brought him in any sooner than when they did. But when Harrison Ford does come into it, like, man, he's fucking great.
Honestly, I really think his best performance in a really long time. Not that Harrison Ford's ever bad in anything, but I haven't seen him like throw down that much emotion in something in quite a while.
There's this scene between him and Jared Leto that's pretty raw. Yeah. And is basically just a discussion about the philosophy of this universe between humans and replicants, and it's fantastically filmed for one. Yeah. But it's it's a movie that is just full of stuff that just fits.
Yeah.
Like, no, it all, like, even if you're talking about just comparing this to this movie as a whole to the first one.
Well, and it's like, and watching this movie too, you like every 3 scenes there was something that happened that made my brain go, with a lesser filmmaker, this would be a pitfall. This would be awful.
Why the hell they give it to Brett Ratner?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like, even a lot of really good directors, I don't think could have pulled this off. I think, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the guy's name.
Denis Villa. It's pronounced Denis, I believe. Yeah. Villa Shays.
But, between this and Arrival, I mean,
Sicario.
Like, what a fucking filmmaker. Like, and what a balancing act this was. Yeah. And to still, like, fit in all those elements that you have to fit in for a sequel. Because this has all the elements of a sequel. But it's just done so well.
Someone in the chat just goes, "Too bad I don't turn 17 for another couple of weeks. I really want to see this. So go see it."
Yeah. What fucking town do you live in where they card you for our movies? Especially something like this. It's not fucking Showgirls, man.
Once in a while,
there's some titties in it, but I mean...
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, depending on what theater you at, hell, we've gotten carded a couple of times, like I did, like, a couple of months ago. So, I mean, it happened when we were kids. Actually, it didn't happen that much when we were a kid. We grew up in the 80s, so it didn't happen very much then.
And even when it did, we just get your mom to buy us the tickets.
When that started happening, I would say I first started noticing myself getting carded in around the late 90s. Yeah, my mom would just come and be like, oh, okay, yeah, they want to see Boogie Nights. Okay, yeah, go for it. My mom had to show up to get us tickets for 4 rooms.
Do you have a friend who's 17? Because that's all you need. You don't even need a fucking parent. You just have to be with a 17-year-old.
Get a ticket for just get a ticket for My Little Pony.
Fucking, do you got a bank account? Order the ticket online.
Yeah, see? Let's go see the movie, man. I mean, I know it's easy for us to say because we grew up in a time where not only could we go see R-rated movies as kids, but they marketed toys to us, animated series, like RoboCop and Rambo had animated series. The Toxic Avenger had an animated series. It was an amazing time. Too bad you all just got mostly a lot of PG-13 shit now.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, speaking of, this is a sci-fi film for adults. This is adult science fiction. It's definitely an R. I highly recommend the movie.
It's an R, but it's not one of those R's where...
Well, it's not Jigsaw. I mean...
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's some nudity in it, but none of it's, like, in any way really overly salacious. It's just... To me, it was like nudity you would see in a museum almost.
Hell, anymore, I think I can count on one hand how many movies get released that have nudity in them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know it's rare anymore, but like, there's levels of fucking nudity. Yeah, you and I both know this.
Yeah.
This is like the lowest level of nudity. In the sex scene, there's no nudity.
This is nudity that you would see in like most sci-fi action films from the 80s.
Less so. I honestly think this was because the nudity in this was not to titillate or to get a laugh.
No, it wasn't.
It was
that.
just.
It was.
What's the word? Ancillary. It's just kind of. It's there because it's there.
Yeah. It's certainly that. I've seen stuff from the 80s and early 90s that would have more or less than this film. But you know, they kind of went with the territory back then, no matter how much or how little something like that was in the movie. I remember in the remake of Total Recall, they still brought back the 3-breasted woman. Yeah, which was weird because there was no aliens in that one.
Yeah, and fuck that awful remake. Fuck that.
As soon as you get a chance, go see it.
Yeah.
We saw it on IMAX. I know it's also released in 3D. I didn't really want to see this in 3D, honestly.
I don't think 3D is in any way necessary. I think that would be a waste of a couple extra bucks.
I mean, unless you're seeing it in IMAX 3D, which I don't know if this was shot
No, because it wasn't shot in it. Yeah. But if you have access to an IMAX theater, absolutely, just because this movie is so spectacular.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce words lately.
Spectacular.
It's so beautiful. Like, every shot of this movie is so beautifully lit. And like, even the stuff that you're sitting there going, well, this had to be done in CG. It's not obvious. No. In that, you know, kind of CG way. I mean, it's everything in this is just gorgeous. And I'm hoping that... Oh, I knew his name 10 minutes ago. The cinematographer for this movie has been nominated for 13 fucking Oscars, and he's never won. And he's been nominated for Richard Dawkins, right? No, Dawkins? Whatever. I hope he wins a fucking Oscar.
I hope that this movie gets remembered. Come around, Roger Deakins.
Deakins.
Just keep in mind, thanks,
Richard Dawkins. Wasn't he the host of a game show?
It's Richard Dawson.
Yeah, or whatever.
He's the best cinematographer. He shoots stuff and then kisses the actors afterwards.
But even, I mean, honestly, I can see this getting nominated for picture. I can see it getting nominated for director. I can see it getting nominated for cinematography. I can see both Gosling and Harrison Ford getting nominated too. But I mean, those are kind of long shots because it's a genre movie.
Sure. I mean, you know, hell, Mad Max Fury Road got a picture nomination. This one has a chance.
Yeah. It's just these kind of movies don't generally get nominated for acting roles.
Oh, acting roles.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I can see because Arrival got nominated for Best Picture, didn't it?
It did. And
he got nominated for director too for Arrival, I think.
I mean, genre movies, now that there's about 9 or 10 nominations, usually get thrown in there somewhere along the way in terms of those. I mean, my final thought on the movie is if you do get a chance to see it in IMAX, I would recommend that, because I typically go for a movie like this that I really want like the big screen. I know I see everything in theaters now, but when I really want, like, it's like, yes, I want to see the epic nature of this film on a big screen.
Yeah,
I'll pay to get the IMAX tickets just so I won't go and the other one's in one of the smaller theaters in there. Like, that would have sucked.
Well, and to be completely honest, like, it's nice having access to an IMAX now, but quite frankly, our IMAX screen is not any bigger than the screen that was at the second run theater in town.
Oh, the Esquire?
Like, years and years ago.
Yeah, that was a huge screen.
We had a second run theater that had this massive theater with a massive screen.
At least in this case, like, I know I'm gonna get it on not the biggest IMAX screen I've ever seen, but at least a big screen.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, the off chance they throw it in one of the tiny theaters in there. I've not gone to see some re-releases because of that. I was here one time and I was here seeing something else, and they put, like, Terminator 2 in one of the tiny theaters in there. I'm like, I'm not gonna. Okay, that's kind of bigger than my TV at home.
Yeah. By the time I sit down.
Yeah.
And also pay $13 to see a movie that I probably own or I could see for free anytime I want to. Like, and listen, I'm one of the few people of our generation that I never thought Terminator 2 was great, and I certainly don't think it fucking holds up.
I think it holds up. I think it's a damn good movie. I've never liked it better than the first one.
No, because the first one's a brilliant science fiction movie.
The first one, hands down, has always. It's grittier. It's scarier. It's more intense. It's tighter.
Yeah. Much more compelling.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I think Terminator 2 is a fantastic sequel. I do. I've seen it on many occasions. I am, more often than not, always in the mood to watch the first one way more than I am the second one. Again, I think the second one's a fine film. It's a damn good movie. But I have never liked that movie better than I've liked the first one.
Yeah.
Is it the best of the Terminator sequels? Fuck yeah! Yeah. Of the Terminator sequels, fuck yeah, it's the best one out of them.
Just watching the thing, something.
Oh, is that guy still over there?
No, that guy's gone.
Oh, okay. I think I saw his wife come to get him.
No.
You just get in your card here.
Just somebody doing this. They're putting the date up here. The date in the movie, the 6/10/21.
Yeah. What's 6/10/21?
Well,
I mean, I know it in the movie.
The movie, well, in every country but the United States, it's day. Wait, yeah, day, month, year. So, it's since this movie technically is released tomorrow. It'd be 6/10.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I see that.
It's pretty clever.
Yeah. Right on. Well, that's cool. It's the Friday the 13th of Blade Runner movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Jared and I are seeing My Little Pony tomorrow.
Yeah, you have fun with that. It's really good. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make fun of bronies because I don't deserve need to be. I don't believe they need to be made fun of. Like, I like some stupid shit too. Like what you like, but like, I'm a fucking adult man. I could give two shits. Like, give me like 6 more years when my kid's old enough to care about shit like that. Yeah, I'll fucking go because I'll have to.
Sure, but until then...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I've never seen the show. I've never even seen the show, but I have seen the 80s movie only because I did a Snob episode on it, and I saw Equestria Girls only because we did a midnight screenings on it, and that's it. So... yeah, Jared and I are going to look like a couple of creeps going to go see that tomorrow. That'll be fucking hilarious. So stay tuned for that.
Do me a favor. Yeah. Hold hands the entire time.
Yeah. Just get... we're both bald. We could get suction cup horns and just stick on our head.
Hold hands. Share a big popcorn and one big soda.
Yeah, one big soda, 2 straws sticking out. Yes.
Do it.
Date
just
night.
Just fucking creep them out.
God. He'll sit in the back. I'll sit in the very front.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Honestly, you and Jared are going to go to that movie.
Yeah.
And you think that you're going to look like creeps, but quite frankly, you guys look like the target audience.
Great.
It's the truth. Like I will be amazed if there are more kids in there than men our age. I will be fucking amazed because that is the audience of My Little Pony. Now, at least it is.
Well, in that case, maybe I'll get a free poster.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Sarah. I don't know. She takes free posters even if it's something she hasn't seen.
Yeah, and then they sit on a fucking desk in my house for 6 months, and then I gotta fucking quietly throw them away.
Oh, you threw away that Hot Pursuit poster?
I don't even think I don't think that thing survived the move.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say, I don't think it survived the ride home.
No.
All right. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.